This whole shelf of books here is all history, and I just got back from seeing Darkest Hour, Winston Churchill movie. You have to see it. It's wonderful. It's outstanding. It's about courage in the face of desperate times. Great movie. While I was in the movie, though, I got an email from my Toastmasters group. My Toastmasters group is Midday Toastmasters here in Columbus, Ohio. And I want to take a minute and just talk about Toastmasters generally, and then my Toastmasters group. When I was about 38 or 39, I decided I was going to become a professional speaker. And to do that, I had read Tom Peters for many years, and he went to Toastmasters because that's a place where you can go and speak and you'll be evaluated, and you can learn a lot about public speaking through that organization. I showed up at the Toastmasters meeting and I sat at the back of the room and I said nothing to no one, and no one introduced themselves to me, and no one recognized that I was even there, and it was sort of kind of a low-key thing, even though there were a lot of people in the room. And I came back maybe a couple weeks in a row before somebody came up and introduced themselves and said, "Are you thinking about joining Toastmasters?" And I said, "I am." And it was Tommy Costantiello, a friend of mine now, and I joined Toastmasters and I had a great experience. It was a very good club. There were a lot of experienced speakers there, and there was a lot to learn from the people that were speaking. But even more than that, when you get up and speak, you're evaluated. I was being evaluated by peers who were also working on speaking, many of whom were way better than I was at the time, and I've always been able to speak off the cuff. There's a difference between being able to speak off the cuff and being a professional speaker. And ultimately in Toastmasters, I became the Vice President of Education, which was sort of a trap. Nobody signed up for the role, and I didn't know that was the busiest role of all of Toastmasters. And then normally you go from VP of Education to President. I was the President. I was in the club for about 4 or 5 years. Lewis Howes was in the club. Sarah Storr, who's a comedian here and now very popular, was in the club. It's just a very good club. But I want to tell you, my experience was not that I learned how to speak in public or overcome any fear. I didn't have any fear of speaking in public. In fact, I like it, and I've always liked it. But what it allowed me to do was find my voice. It allowed me to find the part of me that had something to say. And when you have to get up and speak for 5 to 7 minutes, you have to have something to say. And what happens is you try to speak based on something that you want to teach other people, or something that you're competent in, or something that you find interesting, or in my case, you just try to be super entertaining and have people laugh and enjoy themselves. That's not really what Toastmasters does for you, though. It allows you to find your voice. What is your message? What is it that you have to say that other people should care about? How do you learn to say those words and feel comfortable saying them in front of a group of people? And how do you move people in the way that you want to move them? And that's what Toastmasters does better than anything else. I hope my friends at Toastmasters get to see this. I'm going to make sure that they get the link, and they continue to invite me back, and I continue to pay my dues. But I'm so busy that I can't make it to Toastmasters. But I will tell you this: when I can make it to Toastmasters in 2018, when I have the Thursday noon lunch hour available, I will drive to Franklin University. I will go to the 3rd floor, and I will come to Toastmasters meetings, because there's not very many things that I've enjoyed more than that. And if you will let me do it, I will be the evaluator for every icebreaker or first speech from anybody that ever shows up at Toastmasters. It's my favorite thing to do, because you get to watch someone give their first speech, and then 11 speeches later you get to see somebody who is like magically transformed. It's amazing. If you haven't joined Toastmasters, go check it out. And if you're a member and you're not getting this experience, find another club or raise a standard in your own club. But Toastmasters is transformational. I'm Anthony Iannarino. Hit the like button, hit the share button, leave me your experience with Toastmasters below here in the comments, and do subscribe. This is Everyday.